Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just talking about a trade I took this past Friday. If I'm not mistaken, it was 6-1. It was a trade that pretty much was alerted in the room that I trade in with a group of guys and ladies. We're always sharing ideas, and this one came up, PBR, and PBR was basically a CEO stepping down. And one of the guys in the room said, actually his name is Mav. Mav said, "Hey guys, watch PBR, CEO stepping down." Now in my head, I didn't know if that was positive or negative news, but all I did know was a CEO stepping down. And I did recall, if I'm not mistaken, it was earlier news with things going on in that company, and if I'm not mistaken, it was negative. So more, you can lean more towards the negative side on that news, I guess. But hey, in this market, you never know if it's positive or negative. So it's not good to go with assumptions. So at this point, I'm now just watching the chart. If you see this little arrow right here, whenever you see these arrows on my chart, it's pretty much telling me whether the stock is at this point bullish or bearish. If it's pointing down, 9 times out of 10, it's bearish. Is it like 100% accurate? No, it's just a telltale sign. Hey, listen, this stock has a higher percentage to go down versus up right now, and it's pretty accurate. I wouldn't say that's the only thing I go off, whether to go long or short, because as you can see right here, here's the arrow again, it's pointing up. So right now it's bullish, and then as time goes by, market opens, boom, it goes bearish. So like I said, that's just a telltale sign. All right, and then there's other things that I look for. So like I said, the news comes out, so I'm watching it. I pull it up on one of my SARI charts, and then I see a big yank happen. Boom. Once it happens, and when I say SARI charts, my SARI charts, I have like 20 charts up, and stocks that I'm planning on trading in the morning. And then if alerts come in and I like what the alert is, I typically hurry up and throw it on one of my side charts. So I throw PBR up on the side chart, and I'm watching it to see what happens. And like I said, on the minute chart, it yanks. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so I guess it's negative. So once I see the first yank, which is to about right here, I'm like, all right, this is possibly negative, right? So I hurry up and run over and start charting it, and I want to see how much it can go. But as I'm charting it, as you can see, like it's yanking. So just picture this thing is starting to yank on the minute chart. So I see it pulls. I don't want to just jump in right away because I don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen. And then I also already just so happened to already have this uptrend just sitting here. So now it pulls to about right here. So in my head, I'm like, all right, listen, it's 11:49. This possibly can pull 30 to 50, I think 50 to 30 cents more, right? At that point, to be exact, I would like to tell you, like 11:44, you can possibly pull down into 11:16. So 11:44 to about 11:16. So now I'm just watching. I haven't made the decision yet to jump in yet because, like I said, it pulled 50 cent. I don't have anything really charted on it. I don't know what to do. So now I'm just scrambling. Now I'm like, all right, let me try to get something on this chart to at least tell me where it can possibly go. So at this point, I run over to my fibs just to get a gauge and eye on where it can go. So like I said, it pulls to 11:44. I throw my fibs and I see, hey, listen, fib levels is telling me that it has some kind of support resistance here. Another minute passes and it yanks again. So now it's like, all right, am I chasing it? Because it took forever to get this thing together. I didn't just jump in and trade because, like I said, I like to see things. Sometimes if I don't see it, I freak out and I jump out and then it'll yank. So now I just learned, hey, listen, just get what's on the chart. If it makes too big of a move and you don't like the risk, just don't enter trade. So now that I have my fibs level on it, I'm now like, okay, I have something to go off of now. So I see the uptrend. I'm like, all right, if it breaks the uptrend, then I'll enter the trade, and I'll probably just risk right into here, which is 11:37, right? So I wait for the next candlestick to open up. It pops. It gets rejected at the uptrend. Once I see it starting to pull again, I enter the trade, right? So now I know my risk, right? My risk, my stop, no matter what, I'm getting the heck out of this trade at 11:37 if it breaks it, because now it can possibly rip back up to where it came from. So I'm now watching it. It yanks, it starts sinking again. All right, this is great news for me. So now it seems like I'm on the right side of the trade. So once it yanks and now I have some kind of trend I can draw, I hurry up and put up a trend line. So now I'm looking at the trend line and I'm trying to figure out where the stock can possibly go. So now in my head, as long as it doesn't break this trend line, I'll stay in the trade. So once I notice the trend line is staying intact, and I'm looking at my EMAs as well, because each EMA tells me something else, and I must say Spartan is the guy that gave me all this information on EMA. So it kind of keeps me in trade. It calms me down a little bit, and I'm like, all right, so right now trade is going my way, and I need to actually see exactly where this possibly can go. Where is it really trying to go? So per fibs, I know now it's a high possibility we'll probably go into the 997 area. So once I see that, and I like to also go to my other time frames and find out where exactly can this possibly go per the other time frame, because fibs are just levels where I feel that they're like pivot points where it can go to, bounce, and then probably come back down, bounce, down. So it's a pivot point. So every time it breaks a pivot point, then I look for the next spot. So if it did break this pivot point, the next spot I did have was 943. But again, it's coming into my pivot point. I take some off at the pivot point because it's an area that I know that it typically will bounce off of. So once it comes into my pivot point, I take some off, right? And then it starts bouncing. I'm okay now that it's bouncing because, like I said, at this point, I'm playing with house money. I've made money on the trade now, and I just now want to see where it can possibly go. So it goes back up. It gets rejected at my downtrend, so which is a good thing. So it comes back down again, and guess what? I see a little bounce off the pivot point. At this point, I'm like, listen, I just had to go through this bounce here. Am I okay with going through another bounce? So once I seen this little pop here coming off that pivot point, I just exited the trade. And what do you know? It actually yanks. And once it yanks, am I frustrated that I didn't stay in it? Sometimes I am, but at the end of the day on this trade, I made pretty much a pretty good profit off of it. So I'm not too upset because of the gains, but I mean, just would have been nice to have 50 cents more, pretty much almost a buck. I mean, that would have been nice to have on that, but you don't get them all. And listen, whatever you make on the trade, just be happy with it, because like I said, if you stayed in it, or even if I decided to jump back in, I mean, I always ask myself now, because when I first started, I would jump back in and then the stock would rip back up on me. So now I ask myself, hey, is the reward worth the risk? And in this situation, it's absolutely not. So I didn't re-enter the trade. It pulls back down, actually breaks the support level and pulls a little lower, and then comes back up and bounces off that support level and starts to bounce up. Like I said, this is just a trade I took. It's several different things that I look at that these guys in this room taught me, and what they look at, and it's just I've added several different things that I like on a chart, and this is how I pretty much gauge where a trade can possibly go, when to take profits, when to enter a trade. And then it's always, you always have to have some kind of game plan. Like my game plan was, hey, if I enter here, I mean, I can risk the uptrend, or I can risk this pivot point. If it breaks any one of these two, wherever it is, as long as it's not hitting my $500 threshold on the trade, then I stay in the trade. So that was my risk on this trade. And then as you can see, it never broke the uptrend, so I stayed in the trade. I drew my downtrend, and once my downtrend was staying intact, as long as it didn't break that, I stayed in the trade. But again, you have to ask yourself, at one point, are you willing to keep risking, or are you willing to get out and just take your profits? And this was my threshold right here, because like I said, this is a pivot point to me. I know it can possibly bounce and go back up, especially because it double bottom here. So now in order for it to go lower, I have to break that double bottom and go lower. And like I said, came here, bounced up a little bit. To me, it didn't want to break the double bottom, so I exited trade. But what do you know, it pulls, and like I said, I'm okay with that. Again, this is MarcSkyStocks. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to do more videos. Just let me know if this one helped. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to reach out. Um, and also, this is new to me, so if you want, subscribe to it. I don't know. This is all new to me. I'm just trying this out. I had several people ask me, how am I trading? What do I look at? So I figured I'd give you a little insight because I've been sending out a bunch of pictures on my Instagram and Facebook. So it's brought a lot of questions in now. So I was like, hey, I'll do one video. And if you guys like it and you want me to do more, please let me know and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.